I had messages waiting to be played.
You have 3 messages.
Hey, Collard, it's me, your favorite editor. Guess what? I'm gonna give you a second chance. I need somebody to write the TV column. Pays lousy, so what's new? If you're interested, drop by the office. In fact, drop by the office anyway. We have to talk, Nico. That story of yours I spiked. It won't go away. You've made some dangerous enemies out there.
Hey, Nico, it's your old pal. I mean, your new pal, George. Whoa, Ireland. It's a whole different country. And I got some amazing news for you. Gem of a story, in fact. Oh, gotta go. Yeah, fella here's got a drink lined up for me. See you tomorrow, Nico. Slàinte. Yep, only here for a day and I'm speaking the lingo like a local.
Mademoiselle Coulard, this is Imelda Carchon. I wanted to thank you for being so understanding when... Come to lunch, why don't you? Tomorrow. I might have more news. There's a Monsieur Merlon coming to see me this evening. He says he knows why Pierre was murdered. In fact, he'll be here shortly. I shall let you know what he says. Goodbye.
Merlin? Oh my God. When it came to being two-faced, Imelda was up there with the best. I owed her nothing, but I couldn't just let her die. I arrived to find the Palais Royal courtyard deserted. I only hoped that I'd beaten the assassin here. I had to warn Imelda before it was too late. I unhooked the first wire. I released the second one. Even with both wires removed, the statue remained. If I could deconstruct this, I could deconstruct anything. Locked? No way was I going to break through a door like that. The intercom system wasn't working. Bad sign. Somebody had cut the wire. That broken window looked like the best way in. That broken window... The plastic sheet was thick and strong. I'd need more than... no. My God, I'm too late. Imelda. Oh no.
Nico?
Don't worry, you're going to be all right.
You know that isn't true.
It was Merlin, wasn't it?
Dressed as a cavalier. How absurd. You came to warn me, didn't you?
I must be crazy.
Let me see you, Nico.
All this time you were just using me. Which one is the real Imelda?
You are an extraordinary girl. Thierry would have been so proud of you.
You didn't know my father.
So like him. Something about the eyes. I wish we'd had time to get to know each other.
She was gone. She cheated me, lied to me, used me. But why? Even in death, Imelda looked the same. Beautiful, inscrutable. The Ice Queen alone in her ice palace. I opened it. Inside was a tiny gold key. I took the key. I had to leave. I knew I could never return. There wasn't any. In the dim light, I caught the reflection of something metallic. A small, sinister-looking metal disc had been tucked under my father's box. It was a bug. Oh, chère cousine, you left me a little present. You shouldn't have. You don't scare me. Espèce de... The box was carved by my father. It never had a key. The elephant on the lid was a perfect match to Carchon's. I took out the key. I couldn't believe it. Imelda's key opened my father's box. I dreaded what I was going to find inside. It was a photograph of Imelda. But why here? In my father's box? I felt as if a black hole had swallowed me up. Imelda and Carchon grinning. While behind them a village was being razed to the ground. Its people butchered. And there, next to them, staring out at me across the years, my own father. There was a letter. I feared there was even worse to come. Hotel St. Georges, Algiers, Friday. My darling Thierry, by the time you read this, you'll be safely out of Africa. You need not fear. Pierre and the organization do not know who you're really working for, or about us. Did you think I would betray you? I could not. You wanted me to leave him, but I don't have your courage. I know too much of what has been going on here. They would find me and they would kill us both. Enjoy your life in Paris, Thierry. Your life of honor, of patriotic duty. Do they give medals to spies? No, they'll just give you a phony job in an embassy somewhere. I could never share that with you. Imagine me, a diplomat's wife. So I must stay here with Pierre, the two of us bound together by what we have done to this country. Au revoir, my love. You will be in my heart until I die. Imelda. Suddenly everything made sense. My father had been working undercover for the government. He was one of the good guys after all. He and Imelda must have fallen in love. She'd found out who he really was, so he had to leave. It had broken her heart, but she had never revealed it to anyone. I knew I couldn't either. Whatever he was doing, he'd had good reason to keep it secret. I decided I would respect that and tell nobody. I knew it was George. For a moment I was tempted to pretend that I was out, or ask him to go away and come back later. But then... Come in.
Hello, George. So, where did you stay last night?
At McDevitt's. I got to drinking with Doyle and a couple of the guys.
That explains why you look so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share the room with another guy.
Did he snore?
Hardly. He was dead. Then Leary woke me in the middle of the night to help bail out the cellar.
The cellar was flooded?
Yeah, some idiot had left the faucet running.
And you say Pegram has disappeared?
Without a trace. But my visit wasn't a complete waste of time.
Pegram's gem?
The Templars gem. Whoever Jacques Marquet is, he's in for a disappointment.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who should have collected the gem from Fitzgerald.
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man. Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them is a gem supported by a tripod.
Look there.
There's a guy. There's a woman, but the reflection had the nights through my...
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man. Do you want to look after the gem?
No, George. I'd be too tempted to sell it.
Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah. Why is it that men never really grow up?
What's your problem, sister?
Your pockets stuffed with useless junk like little boys.
You never know when useless junk might come in handy. I can't sit here all day, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lopinot at the Kroon Museum. And why don't you see if Rosso has heard anything?
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? Shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
I so much wanted to talk to George about everything that had happened, but I knew I never could. My father's connection to Africa would have to remain a secret forever. His bravery would be known only to the government and to me. Revealing it would just damage his memory. People would take the story and twist it. Before long, he would be the villain and Carchon would be the hero. I know how they do that. I'm a journalist.
No, monsieur. No et no. Okay, okay.
Watch out! You'll have that done on top of...
This is ridiculous. I could be here for hours. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John D.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
Yeah. It doesn't mention John D. at all.
Most remiss.
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see. I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village school teacher. He taught me the alphabet. Wait, 19 letters of it. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied art and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age? Dream on. What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of this.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologist?
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar, not like Monsieur Lobineau.
I found this gem at a medieval site in Ireland.
That means nothing to me, monsieur.
How did you manage to get this job?
I had the right qualifications, a military manner, squeaky shoes, and an irrational hatred of children.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
I guess not. Does this white powder mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
What kind of experiments did John D.
Oh, the usual.
Yeah, but we skipped over. Can I take a closer look?
What? Get it? That tripod is protected by a sophisticated...
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm.
How is the alarm bell?
By the slightest...
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Thanks for your help. This is ridiculous. I could be a brat.
Come in.
Hello, George. What are your plans?
I want to find out. All I've got to go by is the name and I can't say.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lopinor at the... And why don't you see if Rosso has heard anything?
Okay. Anything else like shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
It was just some police paperwork, a search warrant. Sergeant Moo?
Yes.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur.
He also calls himself Thomas Merlin.
I'm sorry, Monsieur Stobart. I don't know him. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur. Where is the victim?
I'm the victim. I've been harassed by a pair of thugs.
I see. And where did this alleged assault take place?
Outside the Hotel Ubu. They stopped me as I was leaving and went through my pockets.
Could you describe the suspects, monsieur?
One looked like a gorilla, and the other looked like a weasel. Their names are Flap and Guido.
Bon. I'll get them this time.
Have you heard of a man called Marquet?
Yes. He used to be known as the Mole of Montmartre. I heard he's been hospitalized, probably by one of his rivals.
Which hospital was Marquet taken to?
The Hagenmeyer Clinic, in the Avenue des Hérissons.
Why was Marquet known as the Mole of Montmartre?
Because he lived in Montmartre, I suppose.
Yeah, but why the mole?
I don't know. Maybe he ruined people's lawns.
See you later, Sergeant. Hi there, remember me?
Ah, mais oui, Inspector. Have you found him?
Who?
The man in the sewer, of course.
I'm, sifting through the evidence.
Rather you than me, monsieur. So, when you are not exploring sewers, what do you do?
I take a lot of showers.
Oh, very good, monsieur. A policeman with a sense of humor.
I felt a little guilty as I tried the door, like I was about to rob a grave. I gripped the handle with an involuntary tremble in my hand and pulled. The door was locked. Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Really? If you wish to make an appointment, see the receptionist.
I'm looking for a guy named Jacques Marquet.
In which department does he work?
He doesn't. He's a patient.
I see. You do realize there are strict policies regarding visiting hours, don't you?
This is important. I have to talk to Marquet urgently.
We make no exceptions to the rules.
It's a matter of life and death.
The well-oiled running of this hospital is a matter of life and death. That's why we have rules.
Does the name Thomas Merlin mean anything to you?
No, it does not.
I think I ought to warn you that Marquet is not what he seems.
Explain yourself.
He's in league with a bunch of guys who want to take over the world.
Nonsense. Besides, Marquet's employers have paid in advance for one of our most exclusive private rooms.
Could you tell me who Marquet's employers are?
Certainly not.
May I have the honor of shaking you by the hand?
You may not. I don't encourage physical...
Thanks for your help. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Is this the Hagenmeyer Clinic?
That's correct.
I thought I was in a garden center.
Oh, the plants. They were my idea. A little greenery to evoke the spirit of nature. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Jacques Marquet.
Oh, yes. Are you related to our client, sir?
Yeah, I'm his, long-lost brother.
A brother half his age with a different name and an American accent.
Yeah, people always say that. I blame Mom. We were separated at an early age, after a mix-up in the nursery at the Oakland shopping mall.
I've never heard anything so ridiculous in all my life.
I guess not. Has Marquet had a visit from a pair of gangsters?
I should hope not. Can you describe them?
A thin guy who looks like a weasel and his friend, the gorilla.
Sounds as if they escaped from the zoo.
Has Marquet been visited by a man in a clown costume?
Oh, no.
You haven't seen a man in disguise?
Well, there's Theodore the bear. He comes every Thursday to entertain the children. Personally, I think he scares them half to death in that crummy old bear suit. If I was stuck on my back with tubes in every orifice, he's the last person I'd want to see.
So, do I get to see Marquet before the funeral?
That attitude will get you nowhere. My instructions were quite clear. No one gets to see Marquet. So unless you can prove you're a relative or a close acquaintance, you're wasting your time here.
Have you seen this man here at the clinic?
No, sir. And I never forget a face.
What does this gem suggest to you?
I advise you not to flash that around.
Look at this ID pass.
So you're Merlin. Marquet's been asking for you.
For me?
Yes. He was shouting your name when they brought him in here. Now, let me see. He was on Ward B12, as I recall. Oh, he's being transferred to... Oh, dear. He's on Ward J2. That's Nurse Grendel's ward.
What's so bad about Nurse Grendel?
She runs that ward like a South American prison.
Keeping a well-disciplined ward isn't a crime, is it?
Well-disciplined. In the discipline and punishment stakes, she'd whip the butt off the Marquis de Sade. Everything, I mean everything, is done to a strict routine. 6 o'clock alarm call, 6:10 bowel movements, and woe betide anyone who doesn't have a result. Those patients of hers are like Pavlova's dogs.
She sounds like a real nightmare.
And then some.
If Nurse Grendel is that bad, how come the authorities tolerate her?
She's like part of the furniture.
I was beginning to get the picture. This woman was jealous, with a big green capital J. How do I find Nurse Grendel's ward?
Down the corridor on the left, turn right at the senior consultant's washroom. Right again at the executive coffee lounge. Bear left past the administrator's sauna. And turn left at the end. That's J2. And good luck.
Thanks for your help, ma'am.
You're welcome.
As I turned the corner, I saw the source of the hellish noise which echoed through the corridors. It was an industrial polishing machine with an odd-looking guy in tow. Hello.
What's that?
I said hello.
Oh, hiya.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
That's what I thought you said. Don't look so down in the mouth. No matter how bad things seem, I never let life get on top of me.
Oh, yeah? What's your secret?
Why, it's easy. All you have to do is smile and whistle this little tune.
You know what? If you start whistling, I'll bust you in the teeth.
It's a deal.
Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the corridors?
No, sir, I haven't. But I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shiny? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would. With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquet?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shiny.
Would Mr. Shiny be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shiny for 3 years, and he's never let me down once.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shiny. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you? I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind me back when I gave Mr. Shiny his weekly pull-through.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not until I've washed, if you don't mind, sir.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you. Have you seen him before?
How should I know? You haven't told me who he is.
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
Take a look at this red nose.
Are you a policeman?
No, this is a clown's nose, not a policeman's. What does this tissue suggest to you?
You have a cold. What you need is vitamin C.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
You should never ever play with matches.
I know that, but...
People get hurt when they do. They end up in hospital, like the burger lady. She was so burned up they didn't know whether to use bandages or onions.
Do you recognize this pass?
No, I don't. Should I?
No, but I wondered if you'd seen a stranger flashing it about.
No, sir. But if I had, Mr. Shiny would take care of him.
Do you recognize this powder?
Is that dandruff?
No way.
It sure looks like dandruff.
It's plaster.
Ugh!
See you later.
Yeah, take... Hey now, you can't go in there.
How come?
I'm responsible for the contents of that cupboard.
As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered, and died.
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
It was a classic example of functionalism. I almost expected to see a dog or a monkey leap. Hello.
Oh, hi! No whistling, right?
Right. Are you having trouble with Mr.
Yes, I am. I don't know what's got into him. He keeps pulling his plug.
See you later.
Yeah, take care.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Oh, hi. Is this Ward J2?
Yes, sir. The patients are ready for your inspection, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse.
You'll need this, Doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile. Thanks.
Could you take a look at the client in bed number 3 now? His name is Eric Sopmarsh.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good. Do you have a patient named Marquet on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
Why is Marquet in quarantine?
If you wish to know more, you'll have to speak to Herr Hagenmeier. All I know is that Marquet's room is strictly out of bounds.
Do you know who paid for Marquet's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hello? Anybody home?
Who are you?
My name is Dr. Stobart, and I'm here to steer you down the rocky road to recovery.
Dr. Monroe said there was no cure for what I've got.
Your problem is you stayed in bed too long.
Are you sure you're a qualified doctor?
You better believe it. What's your impression of Nurse Grendel?
She's a very efficient young woman.
Efficient? You make her sound like a vacuum cleaner.
I've no complaints.
The woman in reception described Nurse Grendel as a monster.
Well, that's simply not true. She's quite strict, but that's her job, isn't it? You've got to have discipline in a place like this.
What can you tell me about Marquet?
He's the man in the private room, isn't he? That room was mine before I was tossed out like a common squatter.
Do you know what's wrong with Marquet?
They won't even say what's wrong with me. Tell me, Doctor, what's your opinion?
It's too early to say.
But I've been here for 3 months.
I'm going to take your blood pressure.
Why?
I'm a doctor. It's my job. Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
No. Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
I'm not really a nightclub man, Doctor.
Have you heard of a guy called Merlin?
No, Doctor.
Have you any idea what this is?
No, Doctor. I wouldn't even like to guess.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, Doctor. Who is it?
A cold-blooded killer. Do you recognize this red nose?
Doesn't that belong to Boissy?
No. I found it in a sewer.
He's a clown, you know. You wouldn't think so to look at him now, would you?
Do you know what this is?
It looks like plaster.
I'll come back later. Pardon me, nurse.
Oui, monsieur?
What is this device?
It's for taking the patient's blood pressure, doctor.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Would you like to shake hands with me?
Well...
No, it's okay. Forget it. Do you recognize this tissue?
No, I don't. It looks like a chronic health risk to me.
Well, I've been carrying it around for days, and I'm okay. Does this mean anything to you?
The Club Alamut? I've never heard of it.
Do you know Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No, I don't.
Does this tool mean anything to you?
I don't recognize it.
Is this plaster any use to you?
No, it isn't.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
It's beautiful, but I've never seen it before.
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Doctor!
What is it?
You haven't taken my blood pressure.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Of course I am.
No, you're not. Dr. Monroe.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later.
Oh, Doctor.
What now?
You didn't finish taking...
Okay, let's try again.
You don't have the first idea what...
I'll come back when you've recovered your manners. Pardon me, nurse.
Oui, monsieur?
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hello.
Oh, hi! No whistling, right?
Right. See you later.
Yeah!
The connector in the socket supplied... Hi, I'm Dr. Stobart.
Yes, sir?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Yes, sir? Pleased to meet you, sir.
Call me George if you like.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's my name.
My name's Benoit, but everyone calls me Bunny.
Bunny?
That's right. I used to have this cute habit when I was a kid.
Keep it to yourself, Benoit. Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, monsieur. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
Shut up, Benoit.
Okay, sir.
Do you know anything about a patient named Marquet?
No, sir, I don't know much about any of the patients.
I've never met a doctor who admits that he's only human.
I'm only a trainee, sir. I'm sure I'll get the hang of things.
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something. Do you know what this white powder is?
No, sir.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Is that a nasal discharge, sir?
No, it's grease paint. Shake my hand, Benoit.
I don't think that's a good idea, sir.
How come?
Dermatitis.
I don't have dermatitis.
I do.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No, sir.
See you later.
Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Aha! Just the man. You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bunny, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him? He's fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
Hey, Benoit!
Yes, sir?
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
Have you seen any suspicious characters on the ward?
Yeah, I have.
A gorilla and a weasel?
No, this was a tatty old bear.
How is the bear acting suspiciously?
Well, he was wearing a homburg.
Is that against the law?
No, but it's pretty weird for a bear.
Have you heard of a guy called Marquet?
He's in quarantine, doc, right behind this here door.
Marquet is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. He has anthrax.
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
What if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's a cold and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks. Would you like to shake hands?
What for?
As a gesture of goodwill.
On reflection? No.
Are you Thomas Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No.
Then you won't be needing this. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I have never seen him before.
Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, Doc.
Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lahmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the assassin.
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grand Master. Quickly tell him that I have found the tripod right here in Paris.
You have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them as for Klausner. He has gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
He has a theory about the location of the...
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. If Herr Hagenmeier was to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter! The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
Hello, Georges.
I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah, killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window. Have you ever heard of the Hashiashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again. Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. Let's take another look at the manuscript. A knight with a crystal ball. The knights through my teaching. There's a woman, but the
Look at that.
There's a guy working on a loom. There's a guy with a... Between them... I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rosso or Sergeant Moo? Oh, but you're referring to Andre.
I'll let you work it out. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Thanks for your help. I beg your pardon. Are you Andre Lobineau?
That's me. You want my autograph?
No, I was told you may be able to help me.
Help?
My name is George Stobar. I'd like your professional opinion.
Well, okay, shoot.
Have you ever heard of the Hashashin?
Why, yes, it was a radical Muslim sect whose name became synonymous with murder. It was formed in 11th century Persia, shortly before the Crusades.
At roughly the same time as the Templars.
Yes, they gave a new word to our language, Assassini, the assassins.
How did the assassins get their name?
From the legends surrounding the secrets of their initiation rites. A young man who sought to join the sect was given hashish until he drifted into dreams. He awoke to find himself in a fabulous garden with everything he could wish for. The freshest water, the most delicious food, the choicest hash, and the most delectable women imaginable.
Cool. Do you have the address?
I haven't finished the story. There was a price to pay for this taste of paradise.
Wouldn't you just know it?
The young man would wake the next day to find himself back in the real world. He was told that he'd been given a glimpse of the heaven reserved for holy martyrs. A heaven he would enjoy for eternity if he was willing to join the Hashashin.
How did the assassins operate?
Well, as I explained, the new recruits would be only too willing to die for the cause. They'd be instructed in the use of the dagger, poisons, and disguise. Then, the Grand Master of the sect would name an enemy of Allah.
And they'd stop at nothing to eliminate that enemy.
You got it. They were fearless and deadly.
Does the cult of the assassins still exist?
Take a look around at the world today. You tell me.
I think you ought to know that the tripod is going to be stolen.
The Lochman tripod? No.
It's true. I can give you a description of the thieves.
Before the supposed event has taken place?
I heard them planning the raid.
They're wasting their time. The tripod is protected by a state-of-the-art alarm system.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Does the name Montfaucon mean anything to you?
Sure. It was the most grisly spectacle in Paris until the Revolution.
A public toilet?
Montfaucon was the place of execution for many thousands. A dark temple of death, with row upon row of arches, each one framing a grim exhibit. Scores of rotting corpses swung on creaking rope, while the crows devoured their flesh.
That explains the image of the hanged man. I found a reference to Montfaucon in Ireland, in a village called Lochmarn.
Lochmarn? That's where Pegram was digging.
That's right. He'd left the excavation before I arrived. Do you know Pegram well?
Not really. I met him at a conference. I would have liked to talk to him in depth, but I didn't have time.
When was this?
Oh, back in the summer, July, I think.
I'd like your opinion on a medieval manuscript.
Vraiment? Do you have it with you?
No, it's too fragile. And besides, there are certain people who'd stop at nothing to get their hands on it.
Intriguing. Do you have a copy of the text?
There isn't much. Only a few Latin phrases. I was kind of hoping you'd help decipher the pictures.
Without seeing the manuscript, that's a tall order.
Just tell me one thing. What does the image of two men riding on the same horse suggest to you?
The Knights Templar. Does the Templar seal appear on this manuscript? I'd love to see that for myself.
Where was the site of Montfaucon?
To the northeast, near the Canal Saint-Martin, but there's nothing there now. The old gibbet was torn down during the Revolution.
Why don't you loan the tripod to me for safekeeping?
Because I'd never see it again.
Well, don't you trust me?
It's not a question of trust, George. That tripod is hundreds of years old and extremely fragile.
I get your point. Can you tell me anything about the Knights Templar?
I sure can, Georgie. Soldiers, diplomats, mercenaries, monks, bankers, you name it, the Templars fit the bill. The greatest fighting force in Christendom, the militia of Christ.
Jeez. How did the Templars get their name?
From the building in which they set up their headquarters. The King of Jerusalem gave them part of a mosque on the Temple Mount. It was said to have been the site of the original Temple of Solomon. The order became known first as the Knights of the Temple, and later as the Knights Templar.
You're a mine of information, Andre.
Glad to be of help, Georgie.
How come the Templars became so wealthy?
There was a constant stream of new recruits to their ranks, many from noble families. They were required to swear a sacred oath of poverty, chastity, and obedience. So, their money, goods, and lands were donated to the order. The Templars soon held land in France, Scotland, England, Spain, most of Europe, in fact. The poor Knights of Christ became the wealthiest power in Christendom.
Is it true the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found?
Who knows? So little knowledge of what really happened remains. Or, if it does, the truth has never been made public.
What do you mean by that?
The Templars have attained mythological status, like the King Arthur of the Britons. There are people even now who say the Templars still exist.
Do you think that's likely?
No, not for a minute.
What do you make of this?
It's the biggest gemstone I've ever seen. Where did you get it?
From Professor Pegram's messenger boy.
Did Pegram find this on his dig?
Yeah, the site where this was found was a Templar castle. Do you think it could be part of the Templar treasure?
No, I shouldn't think so. You're not one of those crazies who think the Templars still exist, are you?
Well, I try to keep an open mind on the matter. The manuscript is being looked after by a friend.
In Paris?
Yeah, not far from here, in fact.
Well, just give me the address and I'll come round and take a look.
I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I should check with her first.
A female friend?
Yeah, she's a woman. This friend who has the manuscript?
Oui, the anonymous girlfriend.
She lives at 361 Rue Jarry.
Ah, I know it well. I'll drop by. Just as soon as I can.
I'd like to shake you by the hand, Andre.
Not now, Georgie.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
No, Misty.
Okay.
It is closing time, Monsieur Lobineau.
Already, there just aren't enough hours in the day.
More than enough for me. I can't wait to get home and put my feet up.
Eh bien, see you tomorrow.
Good night, monsieur.
Quit fooling around, you moron! Get your ass over here and bring that flashlight! What the... Who's there?
Let's get out of here!
And when I woke up, I was at the police station. Luckily, I managed to persuade Rosso I was innocent.
Poor George.
What a mess. I bungled the whole thing.
I don't think so. You made a pretty good job of distracting those two crooks.
Yeah, but the killer got away with the tripod.
No, he didn't. He's not the only one who can dress up in costume.
You mean it was you who stole the tripod? Oh, hell, Nico. I could have been shot.
Those dogs are more likely to shoot their own feet.
I just wish you'd told me your plans. We're supposed to be in this together. And how come you dressed up like a pantomime cat?
Don't sulk, Georgie, please.
Oh, rats. And don't call me Georgie.
Oh, I really thought you'd be pleased. After all, we've got the tripod. Oh, by the way, I had a visit from André Lobineau.
Oh, yeah. I hope you didn't mind me giving him your address.
Not at all. It was lovely to see him again. He was over the moon when I showed him the manuscript. It's not often he gets that excited. He made a sketch of the knight's crest to take back to the museum. I believe he's identified the family who bear that crest.
I sure hope so. Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a guy with a... Between them is a gem.
Look there.
But the reflection... And the night scroll through my... I'd better get back to the quest. Excuse me, officer. Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic. The most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
Take a look at this.
Ah, an electrician.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
The pattern looks Middle Eastern.
Have you seen this man before?
No. Who is it?
I believe him to be an international assassin.
Oh.
Is that all you can say? Oh.
I did wonder if I should say that I believe you to be an international paranoiac, but it didn't seem polite.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
Hey, you with the balls.
Oui,
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
le Templier? Ah, the last Grand Master, Jacques du Molay, was burnt on an island in the Seine in 1314.
Wow. You're pretty well educated for a juggler.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
How did you learn to be a juggler?
Juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No, I am a jongleur.
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu! A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballetic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crowned heads of Europe had the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders, plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. That juggling doesn't look so difficult.
Oh, it does not, does it not? Perhaps you feel you could do better, no?
I'll give it a try.
Be my guest.
I had no idea what I was doing. But this guy was obviously an idiot, so how difficult could it be? A lot more difficult than I thought. That's how difficult. Still, it was my big chance to be derided by complete strangers.
Not so easy after all, is it?
No, I guess not. I had no desire to talk to the crowd. Excuse me, Father.
Pardon?
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Not at all, monsieur. It will be my pleasure to help you.
How long have you worked here?
Hardly work, monsieur. This is a calling. I have been helping Father Flambert for nearly 6 months now.
I guess you don't know much about the history of this church, then.
Just a little.
You've got quite a shine on that candlestick.
Ah, oui. Anything less than best would be an insult to the Almighty.
I guess so. I never thought of it like that. What do you know about the Knights Templar?
You have come to the right place, if that is your interest. Many of them were executed in the square outside. It was a disgrace to France.
Well, the Pope was right behind it, though.
Clement V was a man of mammon, not of God.
That's kind of forthright for a priest, isn't it?
You think so? It is hard to be sure what happened. It is so long ago.
I've got a medieval tripod.
Monsieur, you are a walking treasure house.
How about this for a gem?
It is very beautiful, monsieur. And yet, I feel that there is an air of suffering about it.
Have you seen this man before?
No,
I have never seen him before.
I thought about using the shake and shock on him, but I couldn't do that to a... Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
I didn't have time to sit around. A knight, there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world. I guess. A stone knight lay in full stone armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing a church, other than deported. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship, I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. Somehow it looked more modern than its neighbor. A stone knight. I wondered if this guy had died. I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. I was a Sunday school dropout. Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur.
I noticed that the stained glass window on the left looks more modern than the middle one.
You have a keen eye, monsieur. The original window was destroyed in the last war. It was as old as the church, early 14th century.
Oh, man, that's awful.
Oui, a terrible loss. Still, the church and the other windows survived.
I was in Ireland recently and I brought back this plaster.
My sister brought back a shillelagh.
There's grease paint on this tissue.
Oui, you are correct.
What do you think of this?
A precious sleeve and valve?
Never mind. Catch you later.
Au revoir.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
Catch.
Au revoir, miss.
Hello again.
Hello.
Look at this gem.
Cut glass.
No, it's not. It's for real.
What kind of madman would go around waving a priceless gem under people?
So either it's glass or... I didn't like to think about that. I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur.
Sergeant Moo?
Yes.
I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur. Where is the victim?
I'm the victim.
I see.
Outside the Hotel Oub.
Could you...
One, their name...
Bon.
See you later. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Do you know anything about the...
No, sir.
The sign on the...
It does?
Yeah. It doesn't mention...
Most...
You don't know it?
No, I don't. It was... It was...
Why don't you start...
You know... Do you?
At your age? Thanks. Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie. Hey, I visited Nicole's apartment.
Yeah, she told me you came by.
Ooh, quite a fine Georgie boy. I didn't expect anything quite so sexy.
I hope you're referring to the manuscript.
Oui, of course.
What did you make of the manuscript?
It dates from the time of the Crusades.
We guessed that from the Templar seal.
It's a story and pictures like a modern-day comic book.
What story does the manuscript tell?
I don't know. It was probably produced for the tourist market.
Tourists?
Oh, oui, pilgrims in their thousands on their way to Jerusalem. The tourist trade is nothing new, you know. It's been around for centuries. Ever since Joshua made a packet selling souvenir bricks from the walls of Jericho.
Have you deciphered any of the images on the manuscript?
There's very little I can be sure about. The slang of the bull could be a reference to Mithras.
Who's he?
A Persian god, almost as popular as Christ at one time. The only thing I can be sure of is the knight. He's Spanish.
How can you tell that?
The writing on the shield, the reference to Ave Maria. No self-respecting knight from Northern Europe would have borne a coat of arms like that.
Can you identify the knight's coat of arms?
I already did, Georgie. He's a member of the De Vasconcelos family from the Costa Calida.
Were they famous?
No. They're not mentioned after the 15th century.
Oh.
The spotlight of history moved on. They're probably long dead.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur.
I noticed that the stained glass...
You have a keen eye, monsieur. It was as old as the...
Oh.
Oui.
Catch you later.
Au revoir.
A scroll was a symbol of a scholar. I couldn't open it with my bare hands.
Hey! Hey, you! What do you think you are doing? Leave that cover alone! Now!
Sorry, no harm intended.
You stay away from that!
Excuse me, officer. Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You...
Yeah, so?
Which...
I'll see you around.
We...
Hey!
Oui?
What do you know about the...
Le Templiers? On an...
What?
No.
Look, a red nose.
Ah, you are a clown.
A clown?
No. If so, you would be a much better jongleur.
For a moment, an idea capered around near the spotlight of my attention, but fell down the pothole of abstraction before I could focus on it. It didn't seem right to fry some... Does this lab pass mean anything to you?
You work in a lab.
No, try again.
You steal lab passes?
No. Well, not as a habit. Does this plaster interest you?
Well...
Forget it. Forget that I asked. Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hello again.
Hello?
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Ah! You are a clown.
Do I look like a clown?
No. Although you juggle like one. Now, if I'd known you were a clown, it would have been amusing. And not a humiliation for you.
What do you mean?
Who ever heard of a plainclothes clown?
He had a point. So you're saying that if I juggle badly with a red nose, I'd be the king of comedy. But if I juggle badly without it...
You look like a pathetic loon. Oui, monsieur. You have it.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
I'd like to have another try at juggling, please.
You have gone on a crash course, perhaps?
No. I just had an insight into presentation.
Huh?
Allow me to demonstrate. The balls, please.
If you insist on completing your humiliation, monsieur.
Okay, now for my secret weapon. The juggler was speechless with rage. You could have mistaken him for a mime. And without a word, he collected his balls and left in a fury. Hey! You forgot one of your balls! Hey! But he didn't hear. Better still, deprived of his entertainment, the gendarme decided maybe he ought to do some policing for a change. If I wanted to get deeper into these catacombs, I was going to have to get onto that path. If the near edge hadn't crumbled away, I could have jumped it easily. The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The inscription was hard to read, but I made out Templiers and something about innocence. My medieval French isn't much, but the few words I understood seemed to say, "This is where the gallows used to stand." Maybe. The hook lay in a bed of chain. My MIDI... maybe. I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked. Rats! It's locked. The hook lay in a bed of chain. There were 3 arches, each with an inscription. The wall had flaked, and anything... The wall seemed in very... The inscription was... I wondered why. It was time for some brutal destruction. Hey! That's hollow! I'd poked a hole in an historical site. If any archaeologists came by, they'd lynch me for this. There was some sort of mechanism hidden inside the wall, with a lever in the middle of it. Here goes. The secret door had jammed. I couldn't get through that gap. Boy, had I ever made a mess of that door.
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness.
In the end will be a beginning.
An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report. The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. Professor, where is the broken sword? As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say, our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the Order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results. Not petty bickering. Not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course. My apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present. Ha! But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition. The next time that we meet, it will be to become the princess of this world!
Wow! In the middle of the circle was a stump of stone, a shaft of daylight from the world above lancing down to touch it. The tripod's feet fitted neatly into the notches on the top of the stump. The light, falling from above, struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays. And each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the left, I could read M-A-R-I-B. Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant. Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Plantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria, but they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria.
Then the Neo-Templars are ahead of us. Klausner beat me to it.
You're not thinking of going there yourself, are you?
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay. What about the tripod?
I'll send it back to Andre, anonymously.
Is there something going on between you and Labano?
What business is it of yours? We agreed all this, the clown, the Templars, strictly business, remember?
Yeah, but...
So get off my case!
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, Georges.
I'm no student of architecture, but the little building looked old. I wondered if it was some sort of summer house. Hi, is this the De Vasconcelos house?
Who wants to know?
I could tell the old coot was going to be trouble. My name's George Stobart. I was wondering whether...
The house is not open to the public.
This is the De Vasconcelos house.
And what business is that of yours, senor?
Look, all I want is to speak to the head of the household.
There is no household. Only the Countess and myself.
Tell me about the Countess de Vasconcelos.
She doesn't receive guests. That's all you need to know.
You don't even know what I have to talk to her about.
She hasn't won the lottery, has she?
No, she hasn't won the lottery.
A more cunning man might have claimed that she had.
Oh yeah? They might have, might they?
And that more cunning man would have been kicked off the premises. The Countess doesn't do the lottery.
What do you know about the Templars?
Who wants to know?
Are you angling for a bribe or something?
You have nothing that I want, senor, except the pleasure of your absence.
The guy was obviously protecting the Countess against the whole world. But why? This lab pass mean anything to you?
Nothing.
Do you recognize this man?
No.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
I don't smoke.
Would you like to shake hands?
I do not think so, senor.
Look at this tissue.
It's a tissue with some greasy muck on it.
Yes, that's right. I don't suppose this red nose means anything to you, does it?
Ah! El Flojo!
El who?
El Flojo! He is a clown on state television.
Oh, is he any good?
He is as funny as scabies, without the laughs.
What do you make of this?
So that's it. You're a salesman.
If I was hawking medical supplies, I can think of better places to hawk them. There's a funny story about how I got this ball.
I don't want to hear it.
Have you got any use for a fistful of plaster?
No.
I'll be going for now.
Adios, senor.
The main part of the house was old, but nowhere near as old as the gatehouse section.
Hey, you.
Yeah? What is it?
You would not like it if people just wandered into your home, would you?
Well, no, I guess not.
Then show a little consideration.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't like the idea of carrying 30 yards of hose around me, so I left it alone.
My hose has stopped.
Yeah?
See, my hose never stops.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it. It's always sad when an old tradition comes to an end.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Well, I'm shocked. I'm mortified. How could you think such a thing?
Very easily, senor. Very easily. I'm going to find out why my hose has stopped. And that means going into the house. You are not, absolutely not, to go in the house. If you do go in the house, I will set the dogs on you.
The armor was about my size. I had a mental vision of putting it on and clanking off to see the Countess, with the gardener hanging hopelessly on the outside trying to stop me. Apart from being stupid and unworkable, it was a great plan.
Hey, you.
Who, me?
Come here.
I know this doesn't look good, but
Look, senor, All I want is a quiet life. A life without mad, house-breaking foreigners in it. Understand?
Look, I just wanted to, use the bathroom.
Leave now, please.
Okay, I'm going. I love suits of armor. The armor was I had with the apart.
Hey!
Oops. I know this doesn't...
Look, senor. And
look, I...
leave.
Okay, The main part of the house was old.
Hey, you. I know you are there, American. All right, you dogs. I'm coming.
It was just a little utility room with no exit, unless you counted the window, and I didn't.
Madre Dios, who are you?
My name's George Stobart. I'm sorry to burst in like this.
You must leave at once. You're not wanted here.
Please, if you'd just listen a minute.
Very well. State your business, Senor Stobart.
There's been a series of murders, part of some conspiracy. Anyway, the trail led me here.
Here? There is nothing for the outside world here.
Over 600 years ago there was.
What do you mean?
This whole thing ties in somehow with the Knights Templar.
The Knights Templar are dust.
They had a secret that was so important, they went to a lot of trouble to hide it.
I do not see what this has to do with my family.
Your family had a strong connection with the Templars, right? I believe that they have planted some clues here.
Why should I believe a complete stranger who barges into my home?
Just let me have a look around. If I find nothing...
You'll be spending the night at the police station. Very well. Please, sit down.
I know your family is involved with the Templars, but I don't know how.
You should be asking how my family were involved, Senor Stobart. The Templars ceased to exist centuries ago. And as for De Vasconcelos, the line dies with me.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Okay, whatever happened almost 700 years ago. So, if the Templars left any clues, they're going to be in stuff that dates back to the early 14th century.
Obviously.
So, What do you have around here that's early medieval?
Early medieval. Let me think. Well, the house is relatively modern, a scant 3 centuries old. Or, of course, the chess set.
That chess set is over 600 years old? It must be worth a fortune.
Indeed it is. Not that I would part with it, of course.
No, I wouldn't either. That's the sort of thing that gets handed down to your children. Sorry.
Its value is less than you might think. The set is not complete. One of the pieces is a modern replacement. As to the original, it was lost a long time ago.
Nobody has any idea where it is?
No. The children had it when they were taken.
Children? What children?
All in good time, Senor Stobart.
May I examine the chess set?
Certainly. But do not move any of the pieces.
Okay, thanks. Close up, the modern piece stood out like a sore thumb. There was something else odd about the set. All of the original pieces had irregular bases.
My lady, I have to warn you, there's a... You! Why, I'll feed you to the dogs.
Lopez, what have I told you about feeding intruders to the dogs?
But, my lady...
Never without my permission. Senor Stobart, if I find that you're wasting my time, you will be fed to the dogs. Now, I want to show you something interesting. Follow me. Lopez, unlock the door, por favor. This is the only remaining structure on the estate contemporary with the Templars.
Nice. What is it, a summer house?
A mausoleum, Senor Stobart.
Oh.
Come with me.
Hey, senor.
Yeah?
I do not know what you have told my lady to be shown these favors, but I do not trust you.
You've got nothing to worry about. Aren't you coming in?
No, the dead do not interest me. My garden is a living thing. I will be there.
Wow, this is old.
It was constructed in the 13th century as the final resting place for the De Vasconcelos Templars.
It's well maintained.
These are my ancestors, and they deserve respect. I come here at least once a week to say a prayer for them.
Mind if I have a look around?
By all means.
The mausoleum contained 5 tombs for 5 of the Knights Templar, man-size in marble. On removing the Bible, I found a pattern on the lectern top. Hey! It's a checkerboard! A big statuette of the Virgin Mary kept an eye on the place. Close up, I could see that the pattern was made up of glass squares over a checkerboard pattern. Now what? There was nothing to snuff. Feeling like an idiot, I put it down again. I couldn't climb up there without breaking something. Hanging from the ceiling was a huge yellowed candle. It looked really old and had never been lit. Now what? Feeling like an idiot. May I ask you something?
You may ask.
Who exactly are these people?
My ancestors. These 5 men were all members of the Templars.
5 ancestors in the Order. You must be very proud.
Not 5. 6.
Where's the 6th knight?
He was lost to us.
You lost an ancestor?
It is a family matter. It can have no relevance.
Well, it's connected with the curse of the Vasconcelos, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I hope you will honor my desire not to talk about it.
Okay, well, I'll leave it for now. Is the Virgin Mary really the right person to be sharing a mausoleum with 5 knights?
You are showing your ignorance, Senor Stobart. The Templars were dedicated to the Virgin Mary.
What's the story with the glass chessboard?
Glass chessboard? Oh, the pattern on the lectern. Purely decorative, I'm sure.
There are pieces of glass missing from it.
Oh, it has been like that since I was a girl.
The gaps in the glass chessboard look awfully deliberate.
No, it is ridiculous. What possible significance can it have?
It's part of a chessboard, and the gaps are for...
Senor Stobart, you cannot mean...
This place was built for the Templars. Your chess set is as old as the Templars. It's kind of suggestive, isn't it? I think this must be it. This is what the manuscript is pointing to.
This is extraordinary. Am I to understand that the Templars left a puzzle here? And in all of this time we failed to realize that there was a puzzle?
It was wonderful to watch the Countess change before my eyes.
Right. Well, no time for wallowing in self-pity, eh, Senor Stobart? This mystery has had a good long run, but it ends here and now.
All those years of fatalism were falling away from her.
Lopez! Lopez! Put that hose down and listen! Go to the house and get my chess set. Yes, the old chess set! Now hurry! My, this is exciting, is it not?
Don't get too excited. This could be a blind alley.
Oh, I do not believe that for a moment.
It's good to see you happy.
Happy? You know, I think I am.
While we're waiting, I'd really like to know what happened here. I mean, the curse and everything?
It all began at the time of the dissolution of the Templars. Don Carlos had already left their ranks to become a scholar.
Don Carlos? Is he the guy who went missing?
Si, but he had reckoned without the local bishop. Their bishop envied us our lands and determined to use the papal edict as an excuse to destroy us. Don Carlos was on one of his scholarly journeys when the Inquisition arrived. When Don Carlos returned, it was to find his loyal manservant slain and his children gone.
They took the kids? But why?
Oh, we will never know. The bishop denied all knowledge of the children's disappearance. But witnesses had seen his men kill the servant who had been charged to protect them.
What happened to Don Carlos?
He swore he'd find his children if he had to go to the edge of the world. He put on his armor and took up his sword and shield and rode out alone. He was never seen again. Lopez, you have the pieces.
Si, my lady, as you asked.
Por favor, Senor Stobart, would you be so kind?
My lady.
Calm yourself, Lopez. I believe Senor Stobart's motives are pure.
Very well, my lady. My lady seems to trust you.
But you don't.
No, senor.
fits, Senor Stobart. It fits.
Working quickly, I found which pieces went into which holes. With the red pieces in place, the square bases fit onto the white pieces. I just had to figure out where to place them. Bingo! I mean, checkmate.
Senor Stobart, look!
What is that? It's not the Holy Grail, is it?
No, Senor Stobart. It is the communion chalice of the De Vasconcelos, missing for almost 700 years.
Wow! Well, go on.
I cannot. I can hardly believe it is real.
Go ahead. Live a little.
Are you sure? This is your moment of triumph, Senor Stobart.
Sure, I'm sure. The possibility of death traps only occurred to me a few days later.
So the curse of the De Vasconcelos is lifted?
Oh no, the Countess was thrilled to find the lost chalice, but there's still the riddle of the missing knight.
Well, you can forget about that now and get back to finding the Templars' secret.
Actually, I promised the Countess I'd find Don Carlos.
You what?
I can explain everything.
You have got the odds for a withered old Spanish aristocrat?
The Countess entrusted me with the chalice and the quest for her ancestor's tomb.
You're as crazy as she is. Haven't you got enough problems? Khan and the Templars?
It's all part of the same thing. The chalice is important, I'm sure. The manuscript pointed us to the knight, and I have to find him.
What then?
I don't know. But when the knight and the chalice are reunited, maybe I will. Just how long have you known Labano?
André? We met at college. He helped me out when I was a fresher. Showed me around, that sort of thing.
You never told me that before. I thought he was just a working acquaintance.
So he is. I rarely see him these days. You know, he hasn't changed much. A little lesser at the front, perhaps. I'd forgotten how much fun he could be.
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, Georges.
You're back.
Oui, I have returned.
Well, I wasn't expecting to see you back here again.
No? Well, it is a strange thing, but I am here on duty.
On duty? But you're just sitting there drinking wine.
No, I am not just drinking wine. I am undercover.
I must be missing something. You're in uniform.
Precisely, monsieur. My cover is that of an indolent, wine-guzzling police officer.
You've got me convinced.
Merci. But in reality, my every muscle is poised, every nerve honed. I am drawn tight, ready to pounce. Dang!
Who or what were you planning to pizzang on?
You must have heard, monsieur, of the terror that is gripping Paris.
You mean the killings? Oh, at last, someone's taken action.
People die every day. No, I am on the trail of Sewer Jacques.
Who?
Sewer Jacques, the terror of the subterranean city. He pops up here, he pops up there. The cops, they seek him everywhere. Is he so hush or beneath the neck? That damned elusive Sewer Jacques.
Bravo, that's very good.
Merci. I was up half the night writing that.
Who is this Sewer Jacques character anyway?
Ah, if we but knew that, we could have him in custody in an hour. But he is cunning to despoil the sewers of our fair city. He has committed many deceptions. He has pretended to be a police officer and deluded a poor war veteran.
Uh-oh.
He has pretended to be a jongleur.
Wow, is that the time?
And an American tourist. What nationality are you, monsieur?
Canadian. Well, gotta go now. See ya. Well, it's not everyone who can say they started an urban myth.
Hey, you! What? Leave that cover alone.
Sorry, no.
You stay away from...
Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur. How pleasant to speak to you again.
Catch you later.
Au revoir.
Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know. It is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks. A scroll was a skull. On the end of the staff, around the base of the disc, I didn't... Hey there, young fella. Speak you the English? Speak you the Anglaise? Parlez-vous anglais?
Yes, si, and indeed oui, and rather better than you by the sound of it. My name is Nijo. Welcome to my grand emporium of quality merchandise.
So, this is your stand?
Oh, yes, sir. Though stand does not begin to do it justice. The finest in this bustling metropolis.
This is a bustling metropolis?
Well, not per se, no.
How much are those books there on the shelf?
Have you any Syrian pounds?
I think I might have a couple of Irish pund.
Then they're too expensive for you, sir.
You speak very good English.
Thank you, sir. I learned from tapes that my uncle procured.
Oh, a language course.
No, sir. Jeeves and Wooster. Gussie, Fink, Noto, Aunt Agatha. What ho?
That's not a very friendly cat you got there, Nijo.
No, sir. It is a very unfriendly cat.
Why do you keep it?
Oh, it's not mine. It just rests where it pleases. And today it pleases to rest there. As Kipling would say, it is a cat that walks by itself.
Fiercely independent.
And it smells.
Is that your father lurking in the back of the stand?
He is indeed a roaring fellow. Ayub's his name.
You don't sound like you respect him very much.
Don't I? Not only do I respect him, I rather like him. For all his bluster, we get on very well.
Does the word Templar mean anything to you?
Templar. Ah, Templar. Templar! Why, yes, of course.
It does?
Yes. A splendid series of books by Mr. Leslie Chatteris, featuring the roguish Mr. Simon Templar.
Great. That's a real help, Nijo. Anything else?
The Saint television program, featuring Mr. Roger Moore of the quizzical eyebrow, and a stick man with a halo. Bing!
So all Templar means to you is Roger Moore.
I only watched it for the stick man with the halo. Bing! He was better animated.
So I'm correct in saying that the word Templar doesn't mean much to you.
Well, there was the Order of Knights who were wiped out in an Inquisition in 1312, I suppose.
That's them. What else do you know?
Just how much information do you think there is on a Trivial Pursuit card?
A what?
From the medieval edition. We had it on the stand a couple of years ago. Ask me what a feuter is. Go on, I know all this stuff.
Never mind. Okay, forget about the Templars for a minute. What do you know about knights?
Like the Crusaders, they came to the East on an insane and pointless mission. They sacrificed thousands of lives, including their own, for insensate pride. How anyone can find them romantic confounds me.
What do you make of this?
Well, beyond the obvious, very little. That pattern seems very familiar, though.
Have you seen this man before?
No, sir, I'm glad to say. Cold eyes.
Here, shake hands, Nijo.
I'd rather not, sir.
What do you make of this?
A man-sized double-ply tissue stained with Bestheimer's number 12 white pancake grease paint, apparently.
What do you think of this, eh?
Oh, sir, what a splendid plaything. One day, when I am rich, I am going to build a world-renowned collection of brightly colored balls.
Are you serious?
In deadly earnest. People will come from far and wide to see my
Yes?
collection. The Rockefellers and the Gettys can keep their hoards of so-called fine art. But answer me this. What good is a Picasso, I ask you, if you cannot bounce it off a wall?
You may have a point. So long, Nijo.
Toodle pip, sir.
I hadn't come all this way to seek out curios. Hi, I was wondering whether you could help me.
Why, sure, son. Always got time for a fellow American. The name's Henderson. Dwayne Henderson.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Henderson.
Hell, boy, I'm not in the office. Call me Dwayne.
Oh, okay. Dwayne? My name's George Stobart. Do you think bulls have any significance around here?
Weird question, George. Nope, I don't think they have.
I saw a medieval picture of a woman, royalty or nobility, something like that. She was looking in a mirror, but the reflection was of a man with 3 faces. What do you think of that?
I think you should be in therapy.
Have you talked to Nijo?
Nijo? He's the youngster on that junk stand, right? Yeah, we've met him. He's a smart kid. Speaks 4 languages, and he's never had a day's formal education. He should go far. Kept trying to peddle garbage on us, though.
You're not going to find much worthwhile around here.
I know that, and you know that. But try telling Pearl. She reckons there's antiquities in them there stands.
You're a long way from home, Dwayne.
Could say the same about you, George.
Me? Well, I'm just sightseeing, that's all.
Without a camera? Kinda lax to come all this way and not take pictures. Mind if I take a picture of you, George?
What? Why? Ow! You could have warned me.
You don't mind, do you, George? The folks back home will be real interested.
What exactly do you do, Dwayne?
Didn't I say? Oh, I run a greeting card company. Yep, we're based in Cleveland, Ohio. Pearl writes the poems for him. You ought to ask her to recite some.
Where is your wife, Dwayne?
Pearl? Oh, she's around, looking for bargains.
How long have you been married, Dwayne?
Hell, must be 30 years now.
Do you mind if I ask you an odd question?
Okay, but I might not answer it.
Do you know anything about the Templars?
The Knights Templar?
Yep.
Nope. Nothing at all.
Well, you knew they were an order of knights.
What I know and what I say are 2 different things, boy. I haven't lasted as long as I have in this business without knowing that.
In this business?
Sure. The greetings card business.
Oh, please. Does the image of a knight holding a crystal ball mean anything to you?
Hell no. What would a knight want with a hunk of glass?
I don't know. That's the problem.
What's wrong, boy?
It's not a crystal ball. It all came together in my head. What the conspirators had mentioned losing. The strange perspective of the manuscript. It's a lens. Okay, well, I'll see you around, Dwayne.
Count on it, George.
Hello. I was wondering whether you could help me.
Why, hi there, handsome. What can I do for you?
Hi, my name's George. I was just...
Well, it certainly is delightful to meet you, George.
I was...
My name's Mrs. Henderson, but you can call me Pearl, I'm sure.
Okay, Pearl. I was...
So nice to meet a friendly American face so far from home.
Pearl?
Yes, dear?
I was just wondering if you could help me.
Why, sure, precious.
Do you know anything about medieval weaving?
I do a little needlework, but gosh.
It's okay. It was a long shot. I've been talking to your husband, Dwayne.
Oh.
Yeah, he tells me that he runs a greeting card company and you write the poems that go in them.
Oh, yes, indeed. I consider myself the artiste of the family. Tell me, George, would you like to hear one of my poems?
Yes, go on then.
Okay then, darling, here we go. Our sympathy upon this time, when your heart doth break.
I like the doth.
Classy, isn't it? We know the grief that must entail when your schnauzer gets bitten by a snake. Ah, it still touches me. What do you think, George?
It's very specific, isn't it?
You think so? We sell a lot of those, dear.
Have you talked to the boy on the bric-a-brac stand?
Oh, you've met him? His name's Nejo, you know. Oh, he's just so cute, I could die. I'd love to bundle him up and take him back to Ohio.
He might not thank you.
I'm looking for something ancient, you know. Something to impress the folks back home. The poor boy was trying to do his best, but we still haven't found anything.
So, tell me a little about yourself, Pearl.
Me? Oh, a gentleman's interest is always so flattering. Well, my husband and I run a greetings card company in a cute little place called Akron in Ohio.
Akron? Cute? Little? You said that your company is based in Akron.
And Dwayne said it's in Cleveland, no doubt.
Well, yes, he did.
Dwayne was in the Marines and Vietnam, you know. Anyway, he got a medical discharge. Thing is, he gets confused. We moved away from Cleveland 5 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean...
He also gets a little paranoid. Thinks he's a spy or something.
I'm so sorry, Pearl.
Don't worry yourself, George. We live with it.
Have you ever heard of a group of knights called the Templars?
Sounds familiar. I remember. Dwayne had a book. The Holy Something and the Holy Something Else, I can't quite recall. I read a little of it.
And?
Seemed like a lot of hooey to me.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
You're a philomenist?
Don't they have secret handshakes?
Oh, George, now you're teasing.
Have you seen this man before?
No. A friend of yours?
No, not really. What do you make of this grease paint stained tissue?
Oh, it's grease paint. I thought somebody had gaudy taste in makeup.
I've got to go now, Pearl.
It's been a pleasure, George. Don't be a stranger.
The merchant was selling fruit. I decided I might have some later. Hi there, Dwayne.
Hi there, George. How can I help you, young fella?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Okay, well, I'll see you around, Dwayne.
Count on it, George.
Hi, what's your name, sir?
Hello, you buy kebab. Moscow.
I'd value your opinion on this, sir.
La.
I'd value your opinion.
La,
Well, goodbye.
most good.
The stand had kebabs dangling from the canopy. As a marketing device, it lacked something. I figured going out into the countryside was a pretty good way to get lost. The carpet seller had an impressive collection of wares. If I had the time and the money, I might have bought a couple of rugs.
Muruba! Hello, sir!
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Ah! Give to me! Give to me! Alamut!
Many beneficent greetings, my most fortunate possible friend.
Huh? Do I know you, mister?
No, no, and again I say, no. But, my friend, do you not see our mutual good fortune in this meeting?
How frank do you want me to be?
You are a traveler, yes?
Boy, you must be the world's greatest detective.
No, I am told that is Sherlock Holmes of the big forehead and slipper full of shag. I, as contrast, am world's greatest luxury taxi driver.
I can see where this is going.
I am Ultar, taxi driver and luxury guide per excellence, yes.
This I had to hear.
Where does your heart desire to go? Simply mention the name to your obedient servant, and we shall fly there, swift as the eagle.
Oh, well, I don't really want to leave Marib yet, but I'm sure that if I do, you'll be the first to know.
Is good. You know where you want to go, you come to Ultar.
Thanks. See you around, Ultar.
Be having a pleasant day, full of shining experiences and happiness, my friend.
I hadn't felt a need to spit since I was 12. Hi! Nice club you've got here. I was wondering if you could help me. What? I beg your pardon? I'm sorry, but I don't understand.
No surprise there, all righty. He says sorry, but he not speak English.
But he didn't say anything.
He not have tongue.
No tongue? What happened?
It was bet.
And he lost.
He won. You should see other chappie. Oh, yes.
Hello again, Ultar.
Praise be to Allah. I am blessed with your bountiful presence once more.
Have you met the American couple?
Have Ultar met them? Have Ultar met them? Yes, Ultar have met them.
And?
They most ungenerous. Ultar offer to show them wonders of countryside. They say, is there anything ancient? Ultar say, yes, of course. Nature is ancient. They say, no, anything ancient made by men. And Ultar say, have you seen taxi? fan belt older than Ozymandias. Ha 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 ha! But they gone.
This place is certainly hard to find.
Oh, yes, it is most exclusive. The membership can be no more than... Kind sir, what would you guess the population of the village to be?
Gee, I don't know, a couple of thousand?
Then I would estimate the membership to be no more than a couple of thousand.
What do you make of that boy in the market, Nejo?
Nejo? Ha! Ayub's boy is too big for sandals. I speak splendid English and he laugh. He say, Ultar, you big ox, you split infinitive. I say, I split your head if you stay still long enough. Ha 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 ha! Ho 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 ho! Pretty funny, yes?
Hilarious. You should be on cable. What do you know about the kebab seller?
A most miserable man. Ultar say, cheery up, matey mate, it might never happen. And he say, shut up, Ultar.
Fancy that.
Not at all. Arto has face like the drizzle that falls on the midweek afternoon, whatever that is.
Do you know anything about the Templars?
Of course.
Yes? What can you tell me?
Great she-bop band of the 60s.
No, that's not really...
Who put the bop in the bop, 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 bop?
Yeah, eternal questions. Have you seen this man before?
Oh, most certainly. Was here only yesterday.
Here? Yesterday? My God, he's close.
Yes, he was asking a lot of questions, just like you.
What did he ask about?
He asked about American called Stoby.
Stobart?
Yes, Stobart. You know him.
The killer knew my name. What else did he ask about?
He asked about German man called Klobner.
I tried to remember the name of the man the conspiracy had lost in Syria. Was his name Klausner?
Sure, that is what Ultar said. Klausner. I told this man in the picture, Klausner wanted to go up to Bull's Head.
Hold on, he wanted to go where?
Bull's Head. Big hill, 10 mile out of town. Maybe 60.
When was that?
Oh, maybe a week ago.
What can you tell me about this Bull's Head Hill?
It's most magnificent. Lovely views. Worth visiting. Yes, by indeedity.
How do I get there? No. Let me guess.
You need fine luxury guide to take you there in air-conditioned taxi.
Woe is me. Where can I find such a guide?
And Ultar is most luxurious guide for most literally some way, in any direction.
Gee willikers, lucky old me.
Are you desirous of my pleasant and luxuriant service?
All right, let's go.
First, I regret the formalities. A trip to the Bull's Head... $50 Yankee dollars, please.
$50? I don't have $50.
Oh, most unhappy event. Ultar then sorry, but he cannot take you on ride of lifetime.
Hold on, Ultar. Is there nothing I could barter with you?
Word that it was so, beloved friend. But my taxi needs gas, and its muffler needs the muffler doctor. Trading for these things is not possible. My heart weeps for the injustice, but it's bucks or zip, or unfortunate American.
Well, I still don't have any cash on me, American or otherwise.
Oh, the delights of the Bull's Head Hill then must...
See you around, Ultar.
May good fortune follow you, mister.
Even if I'd wanted to spit, my... Damn, the door's locked. I'm sorry? Did you say something?
He say you not to go in toilet. Read sign, matey.
Matey?
It lose something in translation.
By staring hard at the notice and squinting, I discovered I couldn't understand a word of it. Hello again, Ultar.
Praise be.
Could you tell me what that sign means?
It's a door stay shut until brush come back. Signed, the management.
Oh, well, what does that mean?
Manager buy lovely new toilet brush, leaves it by wash basin for 10 minutes, come back, It been stolen. Not even out of wrapper. He damn cross. Lock up toilet and say, nobody use fine pristine toilet until brush given back. We say, what we do till then, eh? He say, cross legs and use superior willpower.
And that's what you've been doing?
No. Ultar use bucket.
See you around, Ultar.
May good fortune follow you, mister.
There wasn't much point in trying to launch when I couldn't speak Arabic and he couldn't speak. I hadn't felt a need. Even if I'd wanted.
Hello, sir.
What do you think of this?
Lovely carpet.
What do you think of...
Hello, sir. Ma salama.